Hello everyone. So this morning for breakfast I'm going to be juicing oranges. Probably I will fill this about 32 ounces I believe worth of orange juice for my breakfast. But right now I'm just going to start sipping on this. This is a mango juice that I'd already taken a couple of gulps out of last night. And I've just topped it off with this cranberry juice. It's 100% pure cranberry juice, so it hasn't been sweetened. And it's from a local organic cranberry farm. Very fortunate to have access to that. So I'm just going to be sipping on that while I'm getting ready this morning. So here are the oranges. There's 6 car oranges here that are going to be going into my Jack LaLanne food processor. Now, I know this isn't the most ideal, juicer, not food processor, on the market because it's a high-powered, they call them reciprocal juicers. And so the claim is that since the food gets tossed around in there and cut up at such a fast pace, the heat can damage a lot of the enzymes. And so, we decided to buy this juicer for its price. It was only $80 at Costco. We've had it for many years and got a lot of enjoyment out of it. And while it's probably true that some of the enzymes do die from that heating process, you're still getting all the sugar from this food, all the energy, all the vitamins. And so I feel like, for our price range, it was a good purchase. And we've been really, really happy with it. It's fast, it's easy to clean, and again, it was affordable. So let's juice. And so that took me under a minute to juice 6 oranges. And look at the beautiful color. I don't know if you can see that very well. And into the bottle it goes. Beautiful. How do you like my hair? So I set my hair in hot rollers this morning, so it's a little tight, waiting for it to relax a little bit. Curly Sue. Okay, so I want to talk this morning about diabetes. And the only reason I want to bring this up is because I frequently hear people say that I have diabetes, but I can't help it because it's hereditary and my mom has it. So they blame it on their mom, or everyone in my family has it, this kind of thing. And it's really hard to keep my mouth shut in those circumstances because, what do you say to someone, especially if you're in a group setting and they're saying, that, they can't help it, they've got diabetes, it's not their fault. So that's the other thing too, blame it on the genes. Now, Dr. Neal talks about genes in 2 different categories. One is, what does he call it? I might have the wrong word, but I believe he calls them legislative genes. So in other words, those are the genes that control things that we have no control over, such as our eye color. Okay, and then there are other genes that he refers to as committee genes. So these are the types of genes that give suggestions. And this is what we're talking about when it comes to things like diabetes, high blood pressure, and many of our common ailments that we suffer from today in this country and around the world. So they're committee genes, so they give suggestions. So, and the reason we know this is because there is so much scientific evidence that supports this, really, really a lot. It's not just one study or one report. There is a lot of evidence, peer-reviewed, published in scientific journals, where they've taken studies where they look at populations around the world or populations in a particular country. And they can look at, let's say, for example, somebody maybe on a primarily plant-based diet their whole life, and then they migrate. So they migrate to another area in their country, or they come over here to America and they adopt the standard American diet, and boom, they've got diabetes, or boom, they've got high blood pressure. So we know that just because they had that contributing committee gene, that gene that makes you at a higher risk for diabetes, yes, it doesn't mean you have to have diabetes. You can go on a plant-based diet, and that's the other thing. They have what they call interjectory studies or research, where they take people Maybe they take people that are, they have really high blood pressure and put them on a plant-based diet. The blood pressure comes down to normal, low levels. Or they have people who are diabetic. They put them on a plant-based diet. They interject with the plant-based diet and the diabetes goes away. And so you might be saying, well, if that's true, if this is true, then why doesn't my doctor tell me to go on a plant-based diet? And that's because this information it's out there, it's not mainstream, and because the meat, dairy, and egg industries are very wealthy and very powerful. And so it is an uphill battle, just like it was back in the 50s and 60s when a handful of people were trying to tell the world that cigarette smoking was bad for our health. And you had this very wealthy, powerful cigarette industry that was fighting that. And so it took a long time. It took a lot of studies. It took about 6,000 studies, again, peer-reviewed scientific studies published in journals. 6,000, that's a big number, before the Surgeon General made his first official statement that cigarette smoking is bad for your health. So these things do take time, but you can find this information. We live in a time and a place where it's at our fingertips, isn't it, online? And I know a lot of people say, well, you can't believe, everything you hear online, which is true. So you need to know and trust your sources. And for me, my go-to source, and I know I talk about him all the time, is Dr. Michael Greger at nutritionfacts.org, and I will link that below. He's simply a man. He's a doctor who's trying to get this information out, and he's doing it by reading the peer-reviewed literature and summarizing it on his channel. So if there's this year, 2016, he will read every published scientific study, peer-reviewed in scientific journals. He will read every one if it has to do with nutrition and disease, and he will do a summary on it on his channel. He will do, he will report the conclusions of those studies on his channel. And so you might say, well, he's biased. A lot of people say that. Well, Dr. Greger's biased because he's vegan. Yeah, he is biased because he's vegan, and he is vegan because he knows the truth. And he's trying to, as a doctor who understands that this, changing your diet to a plant-based diet, this is what will work in many to most cases. This is what will help you. Are your medications helping you? Are your diabetic medications curing you? Are they making you non-diabetic? Are your high blood pressure medications, are they just managing your blood pressure, bringing it down a little bit so you don't croak? Or are they curing you of your blood pressure? Because if you go on a plant-based diet, your blood pressure will most likely, in most cases, will come down to normal levels. Okay? So I really wanted to make this video. I'm not trying to judge or condemn anyone out there that's diabetic and tells others that it's not my fault. I blame it on my mom, and they kind of jokingly say, oh, it's my mom's fault. I want to make this video, one, because if it were me, if I was saying something like that really kind of made me sound stupid, because, at least to the people who knew better, I would want somebody to take me aside and kindly tell me, you're wrong. And when you say that, when you blame it on your parents or on your mom or on your genes, it really, you kind of sound stupid, and you're wrong. There is something you can do. You can take personal responsibility. I would want somebody to tell me that. And so that's one reason. I want to put that out there. One, you need to stop, saying that, blaming it on anything but yourself, because it's making you sound kind of dumb. And two, you can take personal responsibility. You can make a difference, and you can do it with plant-based nutrition, and it's not that hard. When Caldwell Esselstyn did his study on, I think he had, I could be wrong with the exact numbers, but it was around, I believe he started with 23 patients. This is a doctor at the Cleveland Clinic. He took 23 of the worst patients with horrible heart disease, on death's doorstep, and put them on a plant-based diet. And I think it's been, again, I could be wrong on the exact numbers. I think it's been anywhere between 20 and 30 years since he did that. And of those, I believe 23 patients, 19 of them are still alive. They're heart disease free, so they have no heart disease, and they're still on a plant-based diet. And so the other 2 or 3 people that are either dead or still have heart disease, they dropped out of the program. they dropped out of the program. And so to me, I mean, besides the obvious of what that says about plant-based nutrition, it also says that it's not that hard, because 19 out of 23 people were able to adhere to the diet. They're still doing it 20 to 30 years later. And so only three or four people out of, the whole group actually fell away from that project. And so the majority of the people were able to adhere to a plant-based diet, which says to me that it's not that hard. And I know personally that it's not that hard. And I know some people take offense to me when I say, it's really not that hard. And the reason that I continually say that is because I want to change something in people's minds where they've already decided, I don't want to do that. Or they've already decided, I kind of would like to try to do that, but I can't do that because it's too hard. It's too extreme. It's too unrealistic. I will fail. And it's totally not the case. The food is delicious. You just have to get through that transition period where it's not so bland. It will begin to taste different. The food is delicious. You will feel, imagine your life without the conditions and ailments that you have. Imagine a life of high energy. Imagine a life where you've adopted an exercise program and you are able to do it, you are committed to it, and you enjoy it. So I've got Zumba tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. And I'm going to go drink my juice. I've got my juice here. Isn't that beautiful? It's starting to separate a little bit. And I will report back later what I eat for lunch. For lunch today, burrito bowl. Big surprise. So here's about 2.5 cups of rice with these are seasoned white beans. About a third a can of beans. And I added some cilantro, and then these are some of the ingredients. Here I've added some cherry tomatoes, some salsa, avocado, half an avocado today, and then a large handful of greens, and then these blue corn flaxseed tortilla chips, which are really good. And there you have it all mixed up. And this is a very large serving dish, and I really didn't think I'd be able to finish all of this, but I did. And then for dinner, we had leftovers. We had these barbecue soy curls on a roll with the homemade coleslaw, and it was so good, so good. I missed Zumba tonight. I actually ran out of gas on my way home from work, and Dwayne had to come and rescue me, and by the time I got home, Zumba was just about a little over half over. So anyway, okay guys, thanks for watching.